My FPL Game Week 10 team selection. I've already confirmed one transfer, selling João Pedro, who doesn't seem like he wants to have a shot, let alone score every week, and buying, of course, the most important striker it feels at the moment. I've also got two other transfers. I'm considering moving a couple of defenders around with two flag defenders going into the upcoming Game Week 10 deadline. We're going to talk about all of that. Can you back against the Erling Haaland captaincy, given he blanked last week and now has a difficult Bournemouth fixture in Game Week 10? What is up, everyone? FPL Harry here. Before we dive in, 2,000 likes is the aim, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Now, just before we dive in, if I sound or look a little bit worse for wear, there are a few less graphics in this video than maybe you are normally used to. That's because I've not been at my desk very much today on Wednesday. I've not been particularly well. I'm going to be absolutely fine. Don't worry about me. Thank you for any sympathy comments in the comment section, but I'm fine. But I haven't been at my desk very much to spend loads of time building this video, but I did still want to get it out for you. And yesterday, I asked for anyone who is a camera expert to drop me a DM on Instagram to help with some really basic questions for anyone who's an expert. But for me, I absolutely had no idea what the answer for. And there were a few of you who did come out of your way to help me, and particularly Dimas. You sent me so many messages, so I'm incredibly grateful to him. He is a photographer. If you want to follow him over on Instagram, he is also less than 1,000 followers away on Instagram from 700,000. Some really cool photos on there. If you want to go and check him out, just want to say a big thank you to him and to everyone else who went out of their way to message me to say that they could help and give me solutions to what I was looking for. And hopefully, when I look back, you might not notice that there's anything different, but hopefully it is enough to improve what I was trying to improve with my camera quality. And if it's not, we'll be back to the drawing board, and I'm sure he'll be there to help me over the next couple of days as we try and sort it out. But let's have a look. Game week 10 is the time of the season where I start to look at my overall rank, where it starts to become a little bit more important to me, but we haven't got that out of the way. And I'm really going to be looking at my rank once we get to the next international break, which is in a couple of weeks. Game week 9 has just gone. It really was the week of the defenders. I made two transfers, and I bought Rodon and I bought Enzo Fernandez, and I did not think that my points this week would be coming from Rodon. I thought I'd be buying it because I needed to free up money for Enzo Fernandez. That was the player I wanted. That was the fixture I wanted. But no, Rodon came in with a 13-pointer, and he wins my Player of the Game Week award. Of course he does this week. Now, the double Arsenal defense are also continuing to reward me very well. Senesi coming in with a 5. Bruno Fernandes with a 4, and defensive contributions being my best attacker. So for one video, I don't want to see people in the comments slating me for having Bruno Fernandes, because he was the only attacker to get any sort of return. But I do wish I didn't have him. I had Brian and Burmo. I absolutely do wish that I didn't have him and I had another Manchester United midfielder, because he continues to be outperformed by his teammates. We might talk about that as a transfer later on in the video. But I got 52 points, which was a really good game week until Mickey van der Ven decided to go and score a 23-pointer. I was right up in one of the biggest green arrows I've had in a while, and then he went and knocked it down. I still ended up on a green arrow, moving from 884k to 780k. So it was a green arrow, up about 100,000 places. So I'm still happy with that. That is just one red arrow still that I've had this season. It's just a shame I started so badly, so all the green arrows that I've had are still only putting me at 780k. But I'm still happy with it. It was another green arrow. It's just a shame that Van der Ven had to ruin it from being quite as good as it could have been before that match kicked off. Now, just before we have a look at my team, this video is being sponsored by Club. It's been a couple of weeks since I've shown you my Club team, but I've had some big upgrades. I actually did pack Gabriel a couple of weeks ago, just as he got flagged, but he has been an incredible returnee. Look at all those points he's got. Club is a completely free-to-play game where you get a pack every couple of hours, and if you like the player you get, you can add them into your lineup and you get scored points, a bit like FPL based on what they do in real life. This is how my team is looking. Don't worry, if you sign up new, you don't get matched against players who've been playing for a while. You get matched against people who've played for a similar amount of time to you. If you want to download it, make sure you join my league code once you have. There'll be a link in the description, or you can scan the QR code. But let's have a look who I'm going to get in my pack. It is base, core, go on higher. Oh, core midfielder. Unlikely. Who's it going to be? 77 rated. Rig of Sunderland. He has played a couple of games. He's nice and cheap, but I'm not going to take him. he's not going to get in my lineup. I did sign Voltemada on loan. You can see there, you do get a loan market where you can add players for one game if you want to bolster your squad. This is how we're looking. I've got a couple of flagged players, but I have got on the double Arsenal defense, which is not only good in club, but it's great in FPL. That's what I've got in my team. Check out the game if you'd like to, completely free to download. Make sure you join my league if you haven't already. So with the interest of not having loads of graphics, and I've already confirmed one transfer, we're just going to dive in now and have a look at how my team is lining up for game week 10. I've got David Raya and I've got Gabriel in the double up for Arsenal. I'm actually very happy having David Raya now. He's also predicted to go up in price again, potentially tonight, but almost certainly before the game week 10 deadline. And it actually feels quite good to have him because there are lots of people looking at buying a Daniel Munoz, another premium defender. And if I went with the double Arsenal defense, I then probably wouldn't want to have 3 premium defenders starting every week, because you do have cheap options like a Rodon, a Senesi, Anderson, or Richards that I want to play every week. Now, I am having a look at future plans, which could lead me to be playing a back 4 more often, because some of those cheaper options are really good. And there are other good defenders that I'd want to play that are being more consistent than some of the other attackers, which I am playing every single week. So I am considering it, but this week, it is definitely going to be a back 3. Gabriel and David Raya, just 3 goals conceded this season, just 1 from open play when you take out set piece goals conceded, and that was to Erling Haaland. So they are just being unstoppable defensively. We've gone with Anderson and we've gone with Richards. Now, they are both flagged at the moment. Richards is not playing in the cup tonight for Crystal Palace. He's been ruled out of that match, but Glasner does hope to have him back for Brentford at home. So that's quite positive for him. He has seemed to have missed a couple of midweek matches, which does make me wonder if there's sort of an ongoing injury issue for Richards that they are just managing, or whether there is actually something new this week that is making him miss this game and the others have just been a random bit of rotation and rest. But it does sound like he is going to be available for Brentford, so I'm taking that at face value. He is in my starting 11. And then the next one is Anderson. He's got Wolves at home. He didn't play in the cup midweek. He was ruled out last week, having been subbed off against Arsenal with what was expected to be a hamstring injury, a very minor one, practically the most minor hamstring grade that you can get. He is still a doubt, though, going into Wolves at home. If he is out, I think I will still roll the rest of my transfers, and I will just let Rodon away at Brighton play. That's the reason we've got depth. That's the reason we have DEFCON defenders in there, that if one of my starting defenders is going to miss out, I've got someone in on the bench. I also don't have much money in the bank, only 0.2, and all of the defenders I'd want to buy are a little bit more expensive. Now, I might look to upgrade Anderson if he's out for a few more weeks, but I'm not going to do that until I free up a bit more money when I sell someone like a Gyökeres, hint, hint, after he's got a couple of the slightly easier fixtures out of the way, although he's had easier fixtures for weeks, and he continues to disappoint. So, defensively, unless Richards and Anderson were both ruled out, in which case I probably would look to make a transfer, because I'm not sure I want to play Senesi away at Manchester City and Rodon away at Brighton on top of the double Arsenal. But as long as one of Anderson and Richards is likely to play, hopefully they both will, but at least one of them does, I'll just let Rodon on the bench sub in. Then we're moving into my midfield. It's where I made the transfer last week. I brought in Enzo Fernandez for Anton Stack. He then didn't feature at all. He was on the bench, but he didn't come on. Sounds like he is nursing an injury. I'm pretty happy with Bruno. Semenyo is fine against City. I do think City will lead chances, especially if Gonzalez and Rodri are still out injured, which it sounds like they might be. Enzo Fernandez, I still don't mind going forward. He had a couple of chances. He's on some set pieces. He's on penalties. I just bought him. And then it's Iliman and Dye going away to Sunderland. Now, Sunderland have been pretty good, and Iliman and Dye has looked fine on the eye test, but I still don't see him getting into that many goal-scoring opportunities, which is what I'm really keeping my eye on. He is going away to the African Cup of Nations. Now, that's not going until game week 17, and we spoke about that at the beginning of the transfer targets video, but I am going to have to sell him at some point. So if he does continue to disappoint, he might be on the chopping block sooner rather than later, but I'm going to keep him for the next couple of games until at least the international break after game week 11. So generally, my starting midfield, I'm pretty happy with this week. Fernandes plays a Forest team, which might be a little bit more secure, although they did concede pretty easily in the game against Bournemouth last weekend. Reinders is on the bench. I don't plan on playing him at all over the next couple of weeks. Once they get to some slightly more easier fixtures where they start with Leeds at home, I think in game week 13, I might start to reintegrate him back into my lineup, or I might end up selling him. When I downgrade Gyökeres, which is a definite plan over the next couple of weeks, I'll have some money in the bank, and there are lots of midfielders I like Szoboszlai, like Gakpo, like Brian Mbeumo, that I potentially will upgrade Reinders to. Until then, he's happy to sit on my bench. He's an okay first sub if anyone doesn't play, but I don't plan on using him. And then we're moving up front. So as I said, one transfer has been confirmed. João Pedro has left my team on Sunday evening before the price rise to Mateta, which did take place. So Mateta is now up to 7.7, but I did buy him at 7.6. Later on this week, we are expecting a drop in price for João Pedro, and we'll probably see a rise in price again for Mateta before the deadline, which will make the transfer overall a sort of 0.3 million swing. Now, I'm recording at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. Crystal Palace do play Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. The early reports are that there might be a start for Eddie Nketiah in that game for Crystal Palace. Now, we don't know if that's in the sort of number 10 role where the likes of Eze and Ismail Assar play, or if that's in place of Mateta. But if something happens to Mateta in that game, if he's any sort of an injury doubt, I'll probably re-record the whole video so you won't be seeing it. But you almost won't see this video if we do have any sort of injury to Mateta. Then up front, it's Haaland. He does have the captaincy armband at home to Bournemouth. I have considered moving it, and we'll talk about a couple of options in a moment. And the final one is Gyökeres. I'm just being really disappointed by Gyökeres. I think I've owned him for 4 weeks, and he's blanked in all of the last 5 matches. He just continues and continues to disappoint every week. But he does play Burnley away this week, which if you look at the data table up on screen now, they are bottom for expected goals conceded so far this season. They just conceded twice to a Wolves team who have really struggled to score goals. If there's ever a week for Gyökeres to find the back of the net, surely it is this one. So I'm not going to sell Gyökeres this week. I am also looking at the likes of Voltemada and Thiago, or a Krupi Jr. or a Mark Guiu, depending on what squad structure I want as a replacement for him. But I don't think this is the week to sell him. I would just hold him for Burnley. If Gyökeres to Mateta is your only route to Mateta, I wouldn't do that transfer. I'm going to give Gyökeres Burnley. I might end up giving him Sunderland in game week 11 just to take all my transfers to the international break between game week 11 and game week 12 before I decide to deal with him. So that is the team at the moment. I've confirmed one transfer, which was João Pedro to Mateta, 2 more in the bank, but only 0.2 million. So unless there's an emergency when both Anderson and Richards are ruled out, and we'll discuss that in the complete guide video on Friday afternoon after both of their press conferences, if both of them are ruled out, I will be forced to potentially make a transfer, and it could even be something as boring as doing Anderson to a Mukiele of Sunderland for Everton at home as an example, just a similar price defender to have a decent fixture this week, although I really don't want to have to do it. So if either of them are in contention to play, I'll probably just roll the second 2 transfers and just use the one transfer I've already made, of course, to buy Mateta for João Pedro. That is where we're at. Pretty happy with the team. The plan is really to roll this week, probably roll in 11 and get to the international break with 4 free transfers, potentially redistribute the Gyökeres money. But if Saka tempts me, if he does well against Burnley as an example, and I might want him going forward, then I could sell Gyökeres next week in order to force it in. So there are a couple of options open next week. The plan was to buy Mateta. João Pedro has been too disappointing. And let's see how we get on this week. Let's see how Anderson and Richards are in the press conferences. And then we'll move on until game week 11. And then it's another international break. Anyway, thank you all for bearing with me. I hope this video was all okay for you all. If you have got any questions about your team, drop it all in the comment section down below. I'll take some of those and answer some of those. Apologies, I didn't have time on Wednesday to answer many on the transfer targets video. If you still have questions, then do drop them here. I'll take some of them, and I'll also put as many as I can in the complete guide video on Friday to get you all prepared for the game week 10 deadline. Thank you all so much for watching. 2,000 likes is the aim. Subscribe if you are new, and I'll be back again very soon.